Hi, welcome to my channel. How are you doing? From whichever part of the world you are watching this video from, I'm so happy you are here. My name is Dr. Luga and I make this kind of videos based on health. I also give medical advice and sometimes I create a public awareness on some of the diseases that people should be careful about. In this particular video, I want to talk about those things you can actually give to people undergoing dialysis. So I've already made a video on the things you should not give to anybody undergoing dialysis, or you should try as much as possible to avoid giving to people undergoing dialysis. So if you are new to this channel, you can support me by subscribing. Also turn on the notification bell so that any single time I release a video like this, you might be the first person to watch it. So let's not even waste too much of our time. Let's get right into the video. So I've already explained what dialysis is in the past video, but for people who are seeing this video for the first time, dialysis is more like a procedure that is done to restore the kidney's function. That's most times when the kidneys have an injury or they have a trauma or something wrong with the kidney, and they get to a certain stage where the kidneys cannot function well. Dialysis is done in order to revive the kidney so that it can function well as it used to. To some people, unfortunately, if it passes the stage which dialysis can be done and it gets to a stage where they will need a transplant, that is, they need another kidney to be introduced into their body. For those people, it's another separate type of video that I can make. But for people undergoing dialysis, though, there are things you should give them and things you should not. I've already made a video on the things you should. I'll leave the link in the description. Now, for the things you can't give them, first things first, let me explain something. There are three major things that affect anybody undergoing dialysis, regardless of the age, regardless of the gender. So the first thing is their blood level is altered. So most people undergoing dialysis usually is fluctuation within their red blood cells, or let me just say their blood level itself. And for dialysis to occur proficiently or to occur effectively, they need blood. It has to be a certain amount of blood in their body before that dialysis is successful or efficient. If it is not, there's going to be a problem. And then the second thing is they lose a lot of proteins. So the protein sometimes is lost to the system itself, the dialysis machine. So these proteins are constantly, whenever dialysis is going on, they lose these proteins to the machine, and that's another factor that you also have to look at. And the third thing is they lose energy. So the energy could be explained as the dialysis itself, it's energy demanding. The blood itself, when you don't have enough blood in your system, it means the energy is going to be altered. So just like you saying when someone is bleeding, for instance, you can't expect them to still be strong, right? Because they are losing blood, and that blood takes a lot of nutrients around the body. So if the blood is not enough, it means nutrients will not be able to circulate around the body. And because they've been losing proteins, sometimes it's even difficult for them to, eat their normal food, the things that they used to enjoy eating, right? It's very difficult. I don't want to go into the physiology of that because it's going to take a lot of time. So any single thing you want to give to people undergoing dialysis, you need to consider these three factors, right? I've already made a video on the things you should not, and I also said things you can't consider when not giving them. Now, for the blood, you also have to give them fruits if possible, but the fruits you are giving them, it should not be too much. You can give them vegetables. The reason why I'm talking about these vegetables is because it has a way of giving iron to this patient. And iron in the body, if it is introduced to the body, it will help the patient produce enough blood. Hemoglobin. Iron is very useful in producing hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is more like a pigment in the red blood cells that helps to carry nutrient or bind oxygen to the rest of the body. So they actually need iron, right? That will help them in blood production. So if you are giving them food that contains iron, it's going to be actually nice. And sometimes there's a regimen people, one of my senior consultants, you do recommend that time. As of then, they will boil chicken. They will kill a chicken, right? Then you boil it. Just put only very little salt and onions, and that's all. And then the person will drink the water. It's very helpful when it comes to blood production. If you are living in a country like Nigeria, for instance, snail. If you are living in Nigeria, you know what I mean. Snail, the water we can also give this patient. What it does is it will help them to boost the blood. Now, I'm talking about the factor, the major one, which was blood. Now, these are the things you can actually do to actually help the person with blood production. Now, the one that has to do with proteins, they are losing a lot of proteins now. So, in the protein aspect, you can give them fish, you can give them milk, but it shouldn't be excess because the kidneys are not strong that much. Remember, this is someone gonna go in dialysis, so the kidneys are not strong. You don't want to give them something that is going to cause problem later. So, fish, milk is also good for the people undergoing dialysis because it helps to restore the proteins. They are losing a lot of proteins, and this food contains high level of protein, nutrients in them. So when you give them those type of food, it's going to help them restore that proteins. There can be some drugs which can be used therapeutically to do that, but if it is you are looking for the natural things you can do, maybe your family member is there and you are looking for things you can do on your own, yeah, you can actually go with fish, milk, and some other protein substrate that can actually increase or help balance the proteins that they are being lost into the system. And the third thing, which is energy. Of course, when I say energy, you don't have to load the person with cholesterol or too much calories because that is still going to be a problem to the kidney. The kidneys are not strong enough. So if you are loading them with too much calories because I said energy, it's going to cause them problem. So if you are living in a country like Nigeria, one of the very easy and how would I put it? The very easy and very accessible thing you can do is to mix milk and malt. So if you can mix these two, it is actually beneficial. It helps to give them energy. You can give them rice. They can eat rice too. But make sure that anytime they are eating this rice, salt shouldn't be too much. You want to avoid putting too much salt on other people undergoing dialysis. I've already talked about the reason that is so. If you want to know why it's so, you can go and watch the video on the things you don't. I explained that. I don't want to do that here because I don't want the video to be too long. So you can give them rice, they can eat rice, you give them energy, but it shouldn't be too much though. It has to be on the minimum. And every single time you are giving them this rice, make sure the salt is minimal. In fact, if you can avoid the salt, it's still good. So basically, these are the three major things you can do, or these three things, or three major ways you can actually go around it when you want to help people. Or if you have a family member or anybody, a friend or whoever you want to help in that situation undergoing dialysis. Now, there are some people that these things I've said, it must still not be possible with them because maybe even after the first, second, third dialysis, they've not really regained some kind of function. So these foods giving them might still not be possible. That's the point you can now talk to your doctor and ask him, okay, doc, at this particular point, I'm confused. I don't know exactly what to do. They will give you the exact diet. If it is possible, they can even recommend a dietitian for you that will help you. But if you see an improvement, if you're a dialysis patient, if you see that person who is undergoing dialysis, they're already getting back to its function, make sure you watch those things I say you should avoid and then incorporate it with these things I say you can't give, and then eventually you see the person even getting more better, coupled with the therapeutic treatment they might be giving them in the hospital. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you can support me by subscribing to the channel. Also, don't forget, it's very important, turn on the notification bell, hit that like button, share this video across to anybody you think might find it useful, so that anytime I release a video like this, you might probably be the first person to watch it. So see you in another video.